Well, I didn't want to do scouting. I did not want to do scouting. My mother took me by the hand and pulled me through a snowstorm to take me to a Cub Scout meeting. And once I got, after that meeting, I was hooked. And I loved the outdoors. I went to summer camp, got hooked, was on the camp staff. And scouting is still a part of my life, although I'm not out camping like I used to be. I spend more time sitting in board meetings than being on camping trips. In 1960, when the Boy Scouts of America was 60 years old, the Scouts selected one scout from each state to go to Washington and meet with all the high important people, and I was fortunate enough to be selected from the state of Illinois to do that. And 50 of us went out to Washington. Did not get to meet Eisenhower, which I was looking forward to. We did meet Nixon. I remember meeting J. Edgar Hoover in his private office. I remember meeting Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the Secretary of the United Nations, in his office in New York. The key thing, though, that happened to me there on that trip was one of the things that we did was we had lunch with the Supreme Court Justices of the United States in their private dining chambers. And the justice assigned to my table was Justice Brennan. And Justice Brennan has done his homework, and he knew, he had the fact sheet on all of us. And by golly, he had most of it committed to memory, and he would start asking questions like he knew us. And at that particular point in time, I had set my sights on attending medical school. And he looked at me and said, well, Dennis, medicine would be a noble career. He said, but you ought to think about being a lawyer. I'm looking here at these things that you're involved in, and you might want to do that. When you're 16 years old and a justice of the Supreme Court says something like that to you, it gets your attention, and it did, and here I am.